Greetings, ladies and gentlemen. We are back with another video, right? We are back now, ladies and gentlemen. I want to talk about your encounter with a narcissist, right? On the other video, I was actually talking about how these people are so covert and how they try to move behind closed doors, thinking that they can deceive you with their actions, right? And always trying to play the innocent one while they put all the blame on you. Okay. Now, today, I want us to talk about the narcissist, whether it's your wife, your husband, whether it's your father, your mother, right? Now, at first, ladies and gentlemen, I just didn't want to believe that we are dealing with demons here, right? Because you would never think, I don't know if the camera is clear. I think because the sun is behind me, it's quite a little bit dark. Let me turn around. You do not want to believe that you're actually dealing with demons, right? It's hard to believe, and it's like sometimes you have doubts, because these people are people who are supposed to be loving unconditionally. They're supposed to be your protectors, your encouragers, your what you call your uplifters, you can name it, ladies and gentlemen. Anything that has to do with straightness and positivity and building towards you becoming the best version of yourself, you would expect a parent or a wife or a husband or a mother, right, or a father to be those people who are behind your back, especially when you are actually somebody who's not problematic in such a way that you are also walking or working towards being the best version of yourself. And most of the time, you're an empath who just wants to see everybody succeed, right? Now, ladies and gentlemen, I just didn't want to believe this to me, right? Because I'm like, it's my dad, it's my mom, right? It's you know. But ladies and gentlemen, the more you grow and the more God gives you the ability to be able to understand spirituality and understand energy and understand who you are and understand the path that you're walking on, and what happens every time that you're supposed to become better and grow and evolve and become the best version of yourself. It's like the devil, ladies and gentlemen, will just use anybody who's a perfect vessel to stop you. Anyone, right? That's why you can find your own dad coming against you. And they're actually the people who want to see you start. Now imagine your narcissistic dad tells you that you will never become anything in life. But it's not like because he said that he will just sit back and watch you sometimes, right? He's gonna try make sure that his words don't fall on concrete soil, right? He's gonna try by all means to make sure that what he said actually becomes what he said, right? They wanna be able to say, aha, you see, I told you, you ain't going nowhere. You'll never become nothing in life, right? They wanna be able to say that and be like, aha, you see, I told you. Now, ladies and gentlemen, you'll realize that sometimes it's just argument after argument, back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. And these arguments seem not to come to an end, right? And every time there is an argument, you are the problem at all times, right? You're the one who's causing this, right? But yet, these people actually provoke you to get into these arguments, which is quite a very, very, very funny interaction going there, right? It's quite a very, you know, insane relationship, Okay. Now, ladies and gentlemen, you are blessed to finally come to an understanding of what you're dealing with, and this will actually heal you and help you in moving forward. Right? It'll bring healing. It'll bring closure. It'll bring um revelations, understanding. Right? That you have never been crazy, and the things that God has shown you are actually what it is. Right? I remember at some point I was sitting down. The narcissist is sitting across me and he's watching the TV. Right? He's watching he's watching the TV, and I remember me sitting down and I'm looking at him. And for a split of a second, because sometimes God shows you a glimpse of the behind the scenes of the behind the scenes of the person you're actually dealing with. He removes the veil so you actually see the person operating that body. And I remember me at some point sitting down in a chair and I was looking at him and there was nobody there. I just hope that I pray that God helps me say this in a way that you would understand me, right? But I remember looking at him and there was nobody in there. It's almost like I was looking at a corpse, an alive, dead body. I hope I'm making sense, right? An alive, dead body, like a robot, maybe, let me say. Because a robot, it's something that just operates out of um codings and programs, right? It's programmed to operate a certain way. So it doesn't have no soul. It doesn't carry no soul. I remember looking at him and I'm seeing this empty body sitting there, right? And if it's an empty body, then it's driven by every bad soul that can access it or use it as a suitable vehicle to come at you. Now, ladies and gentlemen, this thing is bizarre, right? So it's like, okay, you do the work, you self reflect, you heal, okay, you raise your vibration. Because when you raise your vibration and you heal, the more you heal, you start vibrating at a higher vibrational. You start vibrating at a higher frequency. So when you start vibrating at a higher frequency, you become pure within. You got no bad intentions. You have no grudges held, no hate. You're just pure, ladies and gentlemen, right? You start vibrating at a level that God wants you to vibrate for him to be able to operate well in your life, right? I don't want to make this video too long. Just hear me out for a second. Right? So these people, they haven't done the work, right? They don't know how to self-reflect. That's why you would see them whenever they got problems and issues, they don't know how to deal with that problem, but they'll rather take it out on somebody, right? Go at somebody, attack somebody. Let me take my frustration at him or her, right? That's always the case. So when you do that, ladies and gentlemen, because these people haven't done the work, these entities, these bad spirits, they cling to that. They hang to those unhealed wounds. So now, because mind you, they can't self-reflect, so which means they cannot generate their own energy, their own inner peace and happiness. So they see you glowing, they see you shining and being this bright being and producing your own energy. Now they want to steal it. They want to steal and rob your happiness. You hear me? Now, the narcissists meet you, ladies and gentlemen, they have met a grade A supply of energy, right? They can push strings, pull that, push buttons, push that. You get angry, you see the problem, okay? Because these people, they are slick. They move like snakes, right? Now, ladies and gentlemen, once you start understanding what you're actually dealing with and seeing this for what it is, it'll bring closure and it'll bring a way forward in your life from this. Because people have unalived themselves thinking, I can't believe my own parent is doing this to me. Right? And from there, it's like it takes away all their hope and it's like it brings you right down into depression, right? And that's exactly what these entities wanted to do. They knew who you are, they saw your potential, and they're like, okay, let's get him to unalive himself, right? They bring stress your way, they take away all the hope. The person you thought you should be the one who's supposed to be supportive in your life is the one now telling you you will never become nothing in life, right? You're a burden in my life. And this is as a parent. Okay. Now, once, ladies and gentlemen, you realize, oh, I see what these demons are trying to do, then I'm not going to do that. I'm going to face this problem and I'm going to overcome it. I'm going to show them that you can't stop me and you have no say in my future, but only God has. Right? Ladies and gentlemen, I hope you grabbed something from this video. Do not let these demons get you. Right? Do not let them get in your head. Do not let them oppress you. Right? Do not let them beat you down. Because the fact that you came to understand what's going on, God is on your side. Now stay meditated, stay prayed up. You are great. You mean everything to this world. You mean everything to God's kingdom. You mean everything to heaven. Stay blessed, stay prayed up, stay meditated. Peace.